I want to welcome you here this morning as we mark battlefield accomplishments of this administration and highlight the challenge that lies ahead. There is no more appropriate place, I believe, to do this than at Slaughter Pen Farm. 2.5 years ago, on October 16th, we met here to celebrate an enormous milestone. The acquisition of Slaughter Pen Farm at that time and still today was the single largest purchase of battlefield lands by a private organization. But that organization, the Civil War Preservation Trust, did not act alone. Many hands were at work. Government at all levels, the National Park Service provided funding, the Commonwealth of Virginia through our department provided funding, many citizens through the fundraising work done by the Central Battlefield Foundation worked together to provide funding to secure land that we hold as sacred. Also, Sun Trust stood up and was willing to commit monies for that purchase, and that was a phenomenal thing. Important in that scenario as well were the availability and the strength of Virginia's financial incentives for preservation, particularly the tax credits for open space preservation. And finally, of course, there was the willingness of the Civil War Preservation Trust as a national organization to step up, purchase the land, incur debt doing so, use the tools and the energy of all of those partners, and place the property finally under easement, again with our department, thus promising it to the future. All of those efforts, those complex efforts, reflected our sense of what was important about this site. On 13 December 1862, when the Battle of Fredericksburg hung in the balance, men gathered here, and that day, more than 5,000 lost their lives. Also on that day, five Congressional Medals of Honor were awarded, and that's a phenomenal thing. These were ordinary men coming together for what they believed in, and that's the way preservation must happen. These battlefields are important. If you look around, this land is remarkably intact. The hills, the little swales, the ditches, the very contours of the land tell us, if we will just listen and experience the land, what happened here. Of course, battlefield preservation offers many benefits, but it's that experience of history within our communities that is profoundly important to our renewal as Virginians and as Americans. In preserving such sites as living parts of our communities and daily lives, we retain the capacity to tap our story in ways that books can never do, and I really believe that. The connection is real, it's tangible, and it's very personal, conveying in the process something that is profound and essential about us as a nation and as a people. Just as we were founded on an idea and an ideal in a way that no other nation was, what continues to define us and must continue to define us is what brought those men here, and that is the quest for liberty and freedom. That willingness to sacrifice for that ideal is what binds us together and will continue to renew us as a people. Much is at stake, and the drive for preservation has taken on an urgency in recent years as land is lost and as the 150th anniversary of that defining chapter of our history approaches. The commitment of Governor Kaine in this context has been really, truly phenomenal. He's been willing to step up and show a personal interest and act personally in behalf of preservation in a way that is unprecedented. Through his willingness to set ambitious goals and set all state agencies and the private sector towards those goals, to speak personally and work personally on behalf of those goals, through his willingness to put funds on the table for battlefield preservation even in the tightest of times, because he believes that the preservation of our lands and landmarks are important to what defines Virginia and will continue to make Virginia a place of character quality opportunity for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present Governor Tim Kaine.